In the battle of sadness and joy that relentlessly beats over this world, every now and then a miracle happens. In those moments, light and darkness dance together, creating mysterious vortices of immeasurable forces of life. A lot of processes take place in the mother, both physically and psychologically, while impatience due to that process takes over all parts of the room. That all sounds very nice, but that's not the case here. Here is something that is rarely seen anywhere, and that is even more rarely recorded. Here, we witness the fathers which are in full glory. A father who brings new life in the form of offspring to this world. Yep, you heard that right. This is a process where the father takes over the entire exhausting process from the mother. Fatherhood in the sea. Dads who give birth. This is a story about seahorses and their strange life journeys where fathers actually give birth to future generations. A very bizarre and unusual process takes place in their organisms, something so unique and amazing that you don't often see. Some people cringe at the very thought of this, while others accept and like it. Leave us a comment on what you think about this magical thing. To make this all a little clearer for you, we'll first tell you a few things about them. Any of the 46 species of tiny saltwater fish in the genus Hippocampus are known as seahorses. The word hippocampus is derived from the ancient Greek word hippocampos, which itself is derived from the Greek words hippos, meaning horse, and campos, meaning sea monster or sea animal. Seahorses have a head and neck like a horse, as well as segmented bone armor, an erect stance, and a prehensile tail that curls. They belong to the Cygnathiddae family, which also includes pipefish and sea dragons. The world's shallow tropical and temperate saltwaters, between roughly 45 degrees south and 45 degrees north, are home to seahorses. Seagrass beds, estuaries, coral reefs, and mangroves are among the protected places where they may be found. From North America to South America, there are 4 species in the Pacific Ocean. Hippocampus erectus spans the Atlantic from Uruguay to Nova Scotia. The Bahamas are home to Hippocampus zosteri, often known as the dwarf seahorse. There are colonies also in European waterways, in places such as the Thames estuary. The size of seahorses varies from 1.5 to 35 centimeters. They are additionally protected from predators by their armor of bone plates, and their outer skeleton has substituted for their ribs. The dorsal fin, which seahorses use to propel themselves when swimming upright, is another feature that their near relatives, the pipefish, do not share. Seahorses have relatively weak swimming abilities. They steer on their pectoral fins and swiftly flap their dorsal fin. With a maximum speed of around 1.5 meters per hour, H. zosteri, often known as the dwarf seahorse, is the slowest fish in the world. They're usually observed resting with their prehensile tail wrapped around a fixed item because they're poor swimmers. Their eyes can move independently of one another, like a chameleon, and they have lengthy snouts that they can utilize to suck up food. Female animals often give birth to offspring rather than male ones, but these animals have always done things this unusual kind of way. The rule is nearly always demonstrated by its exception, and in this case, the fortunate victors are seahorses. The mamas are the seahorse men. Seahorses, sea dragons, and pipefish are tiny saltwater fish in the family Cygnathiddae that have a unique habit of allowing males to carry their young. They carry out this function in a sac that resembles a uterus, and they have a placenta in their tails. If a male seahorse has a uterus and a placenta, you might be asking why he's called male. Male seahorses, like most biologically male creatures on the globe, generate sperm rather than eggs, which makes him an exception. The female seahorse impregnates the male by placing her eggs into a pouch on his tail, into which he releases sperm to fertilize the eggs and incubate the infants for 24 days. Seahorses, like almost all other fish species, do not nurse their young after birth. Infants are vulnerable to predators and ocean currents that sweep them away from feeding areas or into temperatures that are too hot for their fragile bodies. Because of that, less than 0.5% of newborns survive to adulthood, and that's probably why litters are extremely enormous. Because of the sheltered gestation, these survival rates are really rather good compared to other fish, making the treatment worthwhile, despite the considerable expense to the father. Most other fish's eggs are abandoned shortly after fertilization. Researchers discovered that, not unlike mammalian and certain reptile mums, they provide them with nutrients and oxygen throughout this period. An Australian research team has found the mechanism that enables male mothers to initiate the labor and delivery process. The researchers from the University of Sydney and the University of Newcastle discovered in a September 2022 article published in the journal Placenta that syngnathic fathers labor and give birth in a totally different way than other mums. The hormone oxytocin, which contracts the smooth muscles of the uterus to force the babies out, is principally responsible for female labor and delivery. Smooth muscle tissue functions automatically, but skeletal muscles may flex and relax when the brain instructs them to, which explains why you can flex your calf muscle on demand, yet women go into labor without even trying. The researchers discovered that not only did the muscle tissue of the seahorse brood pouch not respond to the fish equivalent of oxytocin, but that the pouch itself had very little smooth muscle tissue. Instead, scientists discovered 3 tiny bones near the entrance of the brood pouch where the anal fin joins to skeletal muscles in male seahorses. Female seahorses have very tiny or non-existent anal fins, whereas males have larger anal fins. The anal fin and the skeletal muscles that control it are shown to be a key to the riddle of seahorse birth, since they play a role in both mating and labor for the seahorse. During flirting, the male seahorse performs a sit-up dance, compressing and stretching his belly to let water into his brood pouch. When he goes into labor, he repeats the same technique, squeezing and relaxing his abdomen until hundreds of tiny babies emerge. Also, as it turns out, the practice of polygamy often seen in nature exhibited by the male of many species, that is, that a male animal will often have offspring from many different female animals at once, is something exhibited by the female of the seahorse species. Perhaps due to a stereotypical, patriarchal worldview held by many scientists, it was for a while believed that the female seahorse would show a great devotion to her mate and to their offspring. But a study by Zhang et al. Might have shown us that female seahorses often choose brand new partners while their male mate carries their young, even if they're offered the chance to reunite with their former mate. In almost all cases in the study, the female being tested showed no preference for her original mate. Be that as it may, this still remains one of the great wonders of nature, and it's a very rare case among all animals currently known to man. Here, the roles are reversed, and the father does part of the work where a new life is born. We hope you were able to understand this process, and that we were able to explain this phenomenon that many people don't know about. If you liked this video and want more content like this, hit the like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment on what you think about this miracle of nature and what adventure you would like to go on next, so we can take you to this water world full of wonderful sights and extraordinary events. Thank you for watching.